It's mine that's being fucking. We're live.
3, 2, welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I am your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, David Hall.
Hello.
Welcome, Greg Hectus.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, and Brad Wren.
Hey, everyone.
On today's show, we will recap the eNASCAR Championship race from Homestead, check out another sim to reality driver, cover a recent rash of game bugs, listen to the pros' opinion on VR versus monitors, visit Daniel Morad's Sim Racing Studio, see how you can help make a wish, find out why we love sim racing, and John Wick is going to be in a race.
That's right. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all of the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
All right, we're going to open up with a video talking about why we love it. Take it away, Greg.
So Marcus Sohal, I'm guessing is his name, posted a very, very detailed and well put together video about why I guess he's culminated with a bunch of people, but why he loves sim racer, why we should all love sim racing, and I guess why he loves it too. But just going through it and watching the video, it pumps you up while you're watching and thinking like about it. And I'm not sure. In it, there's one quote that got me. It was like, it's not about it's about the battles in the racing and the sim racing world. It doesn't matter if you're fighting for first or 20th. It's just the battles.
Massively creative video. And then what really got me, Greg, was these sim racing quotes about why we love sim racing were spoken by people that we recognize from sim racing YouTube and other places. Like some of the people that he had in the video were Danny Lee, Dave Cam, Emil, Lawrence Dussois, Michael from Overtake GG, OC Racing Guy, Random Call Sign, and many, many others. And so I definitely recognized some of the voices as they spoke. And so it was kind of neat. I like that touch.
Yeah, it's a very well put together video. And, one of the things he brings up is it's the community as well. That's the one thing that I know that I missed, the 7 years I was gone from the service and not sim racing was the community. It's wonderful to it's like any other hobby. You get connected with people that have the same passion that you do, and it doesn't matter where you are. We connect with people all over the world. It doesn't matter socioeconomic, any of that stuff. There are people that love sim racing or love racing, and it gives you a connection that otherwise you just wouldn't have.
Well, like even it kind of gave me kind of goosebumps when he's talking. Like there's the one scene where Jimmy Broadbent, when he wins the Le Mans overall, and it's like, and he says you're an overall Le Mans champion, and it's like kind of just gives you a goosebumps when he's talking about it. And it's like, one day I want to do that type thing. I want to win an overall for one of those big events.
Well, and it's like I've told people, yes, it's a game, or yes, it's virtual, but it's still racing. That's what it's still racing. Whether it's if I'm strapped into a real car or if I'm in a virtual car, it still feeds the passion, and it feeds that need that I have for competition. And that's one thing I think we see with retired drivers that stay involved in it because they continue to need that to get that itch scratched.
Well, tell that to your seat after Spa there when you were soaking wet through it, racing in the rain.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, you take it serious, and this was this was a needed video for me to see after the last few weeks of some unfortunate races.
It's really that kind of video that you show a friend or family about why we do this. Gives you that ammunition. Like, this is it. This speaks volumes about why we do this as a hobby. Why are we coming back every day? That kind of thing. Absolutely love this guy Marcus Soholm and the video he put together. Then all the other YouTube celebrities that participated in the video really took it. It was like a cherry on top.
Definitely going to be bookmarking this. Like I said to Brad beforehand, I'm going to bookmark this on my phone. And if anybody asks why I do it, we do it. This is why.
All right. Well, next up, kind of almost in the same vein, but not entirely, we have a sim to reality story.
Rim 6 is the guy's handle, at least it was on Call of Duty when he was the Call of Duty champion. He moved over to iRacing and then he quickly transitioned to Porsche racing. And basically, this last week he's won the championship, I believe.
Yeah, the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America. So Ian Porter is his name.
Yeah, and he's got iRacing on the hood of his Porsche there. You can see him with his trophy. They got iRacing on the hood. Looks like Grid Finder as well as a primary sponsor. That's pretty cool. Grid Finder used to sponsor this podcast at one point.
So while we're talking sim to reality, as well as just the use of the sim in training, I can't remember which driver it was, but on one of the Dirty Mo podcasts, they were talking about a guy that went basically onto iRacing, I think with TJ, to train in a certain car.
Yeah, so Carson Quapple.
Was it Carson?
Yeah.
Carson.
So what TJ did was got a bunch of guys together, I guess for Talladega, because he's running Talladega this week, and was going to have them run certain scenarios out and have Carson in the car, and then have TJ spotting for him and them kind of working through scenarios. So to use it as a training tool.
Yeah, it was just a lot of average iRacers that got to join in on it, and that would be fun. It kind of reminds me when we got to do the during COVID, the NBC broadcasts where several of us would actually be on TV racing with Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, to teach that young driver racecraft. Okay, how do you manipulate yourself to the front? That kind of thing. You can only learn that by doing it, really. And so, what a great tool.
Does this bring this guy being able to go from a shooter type video game to online racing to the real life? Is that like considered like a multi-sport athlete?
It's pretty cool. I mean, the way he crosses over, though.
All right. Well, tell us about this push, Brad, from an ex post by Trav.
Yeah, so we got an next post here. Says certified iRacing moment. We got trucks at Talladega, and looks like we're coming to the I guess checkered flag. And I really can't explain it. You got about 6 or 7 trucks together, and then one of them just gets a bump coming out of 4, and literally just takes off. I mean, like, hit the afterburners, and he's gone. I mean, just pulls away by. He's probably 10 or 15 car lengths ahead.
Yeah, this is definitely a physics bug.
That should be the tush push that the Philadelphia Eagles do for the call that the tush push.
Way to win a race, though. To bump me to the lead, and yeah, that certainly was a bump to the lead.
It reminds me like he had like an elastic band that shot him out.
And it wasn't really that hard of a push either. Just basically touches him. You could see the back of the truck actually crumple up.
Well, this is related to the same thing where cars have just been getting destroyed by bump drafting, right?
I guess so.
That was on the Hawk Tui podcast. They were talking about that, wasn't it?
I have yet to see this in person, though. Yeah, and we've seen it on the show, but I haven't seen it on track.
All right, next we have the Lotus 49 at the Nordschleife, and the tweet is the Spanish or Portuguese?
But
I
the
think it's
video
Spanish.
is pretty cool. My favorite car I don't own. I mean, I always wonder why I don't own this car. Well, it's because there's no racing for this car that I don't think there is. But it's a Lotus 49, and yeah, at the Nords on certain parts of the track, you can literally get airborne. There's no downforce on this car. There's no mechan. It's just four tires and an engine, basically.
This reminds me of Grand Prix Legends, the way they used to physics-wise with them.
Oh, it was so much fun.
They're super hard to drive because they go real fast, but you have to slow down so much in the corners compared to other cars.
Yeah, they're just horrifically tight, and the shifting
YS-Fly
mechanism on
tires.
the shifting mechanism on them is pretty rough too. You have to really make sure you use the clutch. You can't hot shift it.
So, is there official racing for the Lotus 49 or no?
Well, there's that series that always gets broadcast on, I think it's Sunday mornings, but I don't think that's an official series. I think that's a league. But iRacing endorses it.
The Majors has used the car a few times as well. I think it actually ran Long Beach there with the car. All right, let's forget about talking about just 10,000 iRating. Let's just kick it up on even higher. How about 12,000? And I guess that 004 is important.
We got Swin Ole Hasse put up on the Twitter that he has reached 12,004 I rating. I assume in road because his picture is of a road car.
That's the new McLaren, isn't it?
So, how do you get to 12,004? And I don't even hear about you. I don't know your name. I mean, I've never heard of the guy.
Is it just winning with number one car? You probably only gain like 5 or 6 at a time, maybe 10 I rating.
Well, so I'm gonna I'm on the member site and I'm looking at his profile and I see him at 10,362, and when I go and look, I see him as high as 10,463. I don't see him breaking the 12,000 mark.
You have to change to oval or road or formula or something like that.
Well, his sports car is 10,362 currently. Formula is 9916. He has no oval nor dirt at all.
Is this like, when you pretend to be ex-military and you're not? What do they call that? Stolen valor?
Well, where does the X post actually say what the iRating is? Oh, I see it. It's on the graphics.
Oh, that must be interesting. You just post it up and it becomes true. That's kind of like how the media works in America now.
Yeah, I'm quite confused. I mean, I can't imagine there's a whole lot of Sven Olhaas on iRacing.
Yeah, maybe a burner account. I don't know. Can you imagine a burner account that can get that number up that high?
All right, I think this next one needs to be protested because isn't there a minimum age for iRacing?
Yeah, but if you look closely, David, it's a test. It's not an actual race.
So
He's out there
sue
by
him.
himself.
So
All right,
sue him.
hang on, wait a second. So I researched for his name and I dropped the Ol. So just Sven Haas, yes, 12,004. That's in sports car. His formula license is 11,417.
Oh,
Can you?
so he does have a burner account.
Can you do me a favor and check how much does he gain per race? Are you able to check to see at that point how much do you gain in I rating each time you race?
I'm going. Hang on.
We'll come back to that. No problem with jumping around. So yeah, I knew it was a testing session because you had mentioned it earlier. I was just using that as a kind of a funny transition. But Chase Briscoe has his not even 3-year-old yet on iRacing running dirt.
And doing good. I mean, he's getting around the track. Look, for a kid that's not even 3 years old, he's on an AccuForce direct drive wheel.
Probably turned way down.
Yeah, but still, to not wreck and not spin out, I mean, he's doing better than I do on dirt.
I was just going to say the hand-eye coordination's already there type thing, right? Because he's already correcting and doing the things he's supposed to.
Is he going to put some AI on there and teach him how to block lapping cars?
He's going to get. Go ahead, Brad.
I don't see the driving line.
No driving line. Darn it.
Oh God.
All right, so real quick, back to Sven. He won the GT3 Fanatec Challenge at Le Mans and picked up 11 iRating.
So he's doing it.
Winning.
He's doing it incrementally. Like that would take forever.
And just think about how perfect you have to always be, because one loss and boom, you get hit hard.
Can you imagine if he goes in at 1200 and then he gets a race where he loses like hard? That would suck. Anyways, good on him though. Thanks for doing the research, Brad.
How many championship points does a split get that has people in it that high? Yeah, I gotta imagine it's 200 or more.
Hang on.
This seems like a research topic, Brad.
All right, so here you go. He ran that race that he won. He got 291 points. The race before that, same track, he won. He got 312.
Mike would have to race 6 weeks in a row before he'd get the same amount of points he gets in one race.
So he finished second. He finished second and won. He got 319. The one before that, he won 329 points. So SOF's over 6,000.
We talked about sim racing and how much we love it. Imagine being in that split and then being top 3, or winning it. I mean, you really can say something, man. I'm pretty good at this,
There's got to be some potential for sim to reel with him when you're putting out that kind of consistency. All right, let's transition over to a little bit of Coke Series news, starting with a hater's guide to the 2024 iRacing Coca-Cola Series.
Yeah, DJ EJ, a little pre-race video, and basically an interview with our 4 championship contenders, a one-on-one Q&A. He talks with each one of them on video, except for one, and this one is hilarious. As he's interviewing Steven Wilson, he's got like Steven Wilson in like a mug shot, and then he's got his mouth cut and kind of moving up and down, and you can see his mouse grabbing his little lip and moving it up and down to try to mimic his mouth moving. It's hilarious.
but it's not him. It's actually, I think it's the mugshot for Scotty Scheffler, pro golf player.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
that's even better.
It is.
The golfer, right?
Yeah, because they look surprisingly alike.
Anyway, I had to laugh really hard when I saw the golfer with the lip moving with the little mouse.
It was a good video. It gave you a little bit of backstory with each of them, so I thought it was good.
Let's talk about the race and our watch party. We had a great watch party. Most of the team showed up. We had some listeners in there. None of them really spoke up. I guess they were shy, and I guess that's okay. But we had a lot of people watching online on YouTube and stuff. So I appreciate everyone who showed up. I think everyone enjoyed. But I think the story of the race was this 66 car. Brad, tell us about Colin Keister.
Yeah, so every caution that we had, I think, maybe until about the last one or two.
Last one wasn't.
Yeah, involved a 66. So it kind of became a running joke. as the race went on. So I'm not sure how many penalty points he was carrying for the season, but he definitely made a big imprint on him during the last race.
Yeah, that was something because it was always the same guy involved, and I think more than once he was on the bottom and came up into the upper lane and took out guys.
Did anybody see where he finished in points?
He's not in the top 20. I was taking a look.
Okay.
Yes, Hail Mary, to try to make the top 20.
I don't think it matters
But look,
because he's going to have to go back down the series, so whatever points he accumulated weren't going to show anyways.
Behind him, and Zielinski has to go.
And as usual in Coke Series in 2024, it kind of boiled down to a late restart, and the top, three of these guys were up there. Bolin was back in like 7th, but 3 of the championship 4 up there with one other guy. And man, I mean, we had them 3 wide for the win. Well, 4 wide for the win, 3 wide for the championship in the final lap. And as they battled through it, Bobby Zielinski and, trading jabs with Parker White. At one point he tries to pull the entire Austin Dillon move on him, where he drives in, 4 car lengths too deep, runs him up the track, gets him in the wall, but Bobby just mistimes it just a hair and spins himself out. Parker White wins. And he kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, he was back in the 3rd of the 3 guys right up until that last section of the race. And like I said, Brad, you're like, where did he come from?
Yeah, I mean, Wilson was up there the whole race. That's what we kept saying. I think Zielinski started, what he started 30 something, really poor qualifying. Took about the first half of the race to get up there, but I mean, I thought this was Wilson's to lose, and he got aggressive there towards the end. And I think Wilson stay out with just take 2 tires, I think was what it was. I think, but he threw some blocks and tried to do some slide jobs and ended up getting tight, running up against the wall. But Zielinski tried to punt Parker coming through 3 and 4, and just didn't work. But good finish. Very exciting race. So I think you guys have seen more of them the last few years than I have. I think this is probably one of the more exciting ones.
It certainly was. I mean, you had no idea. Sorry, David.
Parker was the guy that I had kind of decided to pull for based on the fact that he was also into aviation.
Yes.
I mean, even as they were on the turn 4 coming to the checker, you still didn't know who won it because Bobby sent it in there. Parker was sent to the wall. He's going to hit the wall. And at that moment, you think, oh, Bobby's going to do it. He's going to win it. And then suddenly Bobby just twist and spin, and it's Parker's. And then we have reaction here from the crowd at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. His mom, tears of joy, tears of pride. NASCAR put out a tweet with the video. The emotion is real.
Led lap on the night for Parker.
Well, and they interviewed all the moms before the race too. Brad and I were watching the pre-show, and a bunch of guys were watching the pre-show.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
This next video from Williams Esports is ridiculous. Funny though.
I love AI.
Yeah, you've seen this done with everybody.
I guess this is actually the first time I've seen it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's like one of the most used things on TikTok, but you guys don't like that, so that's probably why you don't notice it.
So the AI video for our audio listeners, it's Parker, White basically strolling out on a stage like a rock star, out onto the stage in front of thousands in the crowd, and kind of him hawing around. I guess that's the way I would describe it.
If I was them, I would have tried to find some way of getting that Coke hat put on him while he was doing this. It would have been funnier.
Gosh.
With the strap sticking out the back. So at the end of the race, they either at the championship presentation, Dale is like in his face. Dale Jr. is like in his face. Dude, you did a good job. Blah blah blah. Giving him a little Dale speech, and somebody goes and slaps this Coke hat on his head. It's like a Coke hat for a 5-year-old.
No,
And-
he's a big headed boy.
Oh yeah, maybe that's it. But he tries to put the strap across the back of his head, and it doesn't quite fit, so he just leaves it loose and wears the hat. And Greg, I think you drove you a little crazy.
It was me. I think Justin. I think Tyler. I still think I think now that he's $100,000 richer, he needs to own it this way. He needs to wear all his hats that way now.
Well, what I think it was is it was Tony Rochette's revenge for all the big hats.
Oh, he hates the Hendrick big hats. I was just thinking, imagine if William Byron ever wins a championship, how big that hat will be.
Oh, that's going to be a big hat. All right, so do we want to run down the top 20 that have qualified for next year?
Yeah, sure, Brad. Go ahead.
All right, so we had Parker White, Steve Wilson, Graham Bolin, Bobby Lazinski, Vicente Salas, Tucker Minter, Garrett Lowe, Daniel Falkingham, Nick Ottinger, Dylan Duvall, Casey Kerwin, Zach Novak, Donovan Strauss, Caden Honeycutt, Jimmy Mullis, Michael Cozy Jr., Femi Olafs, Jordy Lopez, Seth DeMerchant, and then Michael Guest. So there's your 20 that have locked themselves in. Everybody else will have to go back to the Contender Series.
There's no one retiring, right? That was last year that someone was retiring?
Well, there is.
Yeah,
actually.
we
It's
do.
the next article, but he didn't make the top 20.
Yeah, outside the cut line, just outside was Wyatt Tinsley by only 3 points. Malik Ray also 3 points out, and then Briar LaPrade 8 points out.
So that final ride is from Jonathan Delaney. He posted, I don't know if he posted it after the race or before. The way I read it, it looks like before. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun. He probably didn't enjoy the fact that he didn't make the top 20, and it takes a lot of time to run these things. The race at Homestead will be his final race in the Pro Series of iRacing. It's been a pleasure to run the number 3 for Team Dillon Management this season. However, since I joined racing, I dreamed about being a part of the Coke Series, and it's actually a really long tweet. I'm not going to finish it, but he's retiring.
One and done. It's humbling, I bet, to be bottom 20, after working your way up and winning races and getting to that point, And so
But it's also there's that, and the amount of time they have to spend in testing is just absurd. It can take the fun out of it.
All right, don't want me to jump in. I listen to you guys all the time. You guys are awesome, though. Just wanted to come in and say that.
Well, I think we're going to leave that in. Welcome, listener Justin Cook.
I got a 30-minute drive to work every day and hour lunch, and I listen to you guys all the time with a couple others. But I won't eavesdrop on you guys. I'll take it off. But,
no, you're welcome to stay. Interestingly, we usually go into the private lounge, but Mike went to the wrong room.
His racing line wasn't on.
Yeah, I saw that. I use that all the time too, man. Makes life easier.
what's wrong with having the racing line on, man. I tell you.
No, nothing. Absolutely not.
Can you use the racing line to get to the moon?
I don't know.
That'll be the next topic.
Well, we just upset Mike. He just ran away.
That's all good. I got nothing else to contribute to you guys. You guys got a great show though, so thanks. Keep it up.
Hey, we appreciate it, Justin.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
So, Mike, can you use your racing line to get to the moon?
Well, let's find out. We have a post here from Wyatt Kent in the forums. He said, so pissed right now with the hours invested before the race and the 2.5 hours of pure focus on my first NEC solo. I was coming around the corner, just like 10 laps before, and out of nowhere, my car catches and flies to the moon. Everything with my PC was fine. Graphics set to medium. 3070 Ti. Haven't had this issue yet, but I'm legitimately more pissed at this game than I have been for any game before. I get it. It's a hobby.
Oh, I understand the frustration. I really do. But I love the post. You know, it's like, you got a replay? Probably not. So, but we ended up with a post from a couple staff members. Uh, Christian Challenger said, "Hey, Wyatt, sorry this happened. I've seen reports of similar behavior on both the GR86 and the Cayman GT4. Were you driving one of these by chance?" So they're working to resolve the issues. And Michael Hinkle posted it in there, said, I guess he did have the replay. So they're working on it, hoping to get a bug fixed pretty quick. So, I mean, look, we got a few of these to tackle tonight. These things happen. We know that. But there's always been those weird things that will happen. I mean, it was at Talladega. There were some holes that you could fall into and then get shot to the moon.
What
Was it
the-
Jackie Gleason? I'm going to sing you to the moon.
The honeymooners.
Wasn't there a random bug at one point where the cars would set? There was a car that would set fire if it was sitting. Like, there's just bugs like that happen.
No fire in iRacing.
That's just Junior's car at Bristol. So while we're staying on the moon theme, the next topic is appropriately titled Houston, We Have a Problem.
Yeah, so apparently the super late models is the issue. Got a post from Valley. Valley says, "Why are the supers racing on the asphalt this week at Oswego?" So I'm assuming it should be the dirt version. Had a response from Michael Hinkle. Says, "Hey Bob, this was obviously a mistake. I've alerted the scheduling team, and they will get it corrected before the next race. Thanks."
It's dirt car, but pavement track.
Yeah,
Wonder what the tire wear would have been like on that.
May need to be what NASCAR does. Start running dirt tires.
Grooved tires.
It makes you wonder what kind of upkeep that somebody on staff has to do to kind of manage these things.
Well, you gotta
Program the season. Yeah.
You gotta think of how many different series there are, how many time slots, how many. Like, it's just that's probably a whole day task, or more.
yeah, but I mean, we've seen issues before where it's either the wrong version or something odd gets done with the schedule when they get released. So, yeah, I mean, look, they've been pretty quick to fix it. I think they even, I mean, David, I remember first week was Fuji. IMSA was at Fuji with like a 5:30 or 6 o'clock start time was the very first day, and it was pitch black in the rain, and you really couldn't see anything. So they ended up changing that and moved it back a few hours because it was ugly.
I don't remember that. I thought it was pitch dark every time.
No, it was originally, I think the start time was like 6:30 or 7 or something, but it was bad. They did make a change after the first day.
Well, the endurance was nighttime the whole time, but it was dry.
The next one, David, this one reminds me of the border wall. This looks like a border wall. So we got a SMAA anti-aliasing bug found by JP Vasconcelos in the forums. He posts up, "Hey, why does my sim look like this?" And like I said, it looks kind of like a border wall down on the border of Mexico or something. Really tall.
It's the new dome racetrack that they've added to iRacing. It keeps the bugs out.
It looks just as efficient as our border wall is.
Big
The
holes in it.
The real question is who paid for it.
Yeah. So anyway, there is a staff member who indicated they had this. They knew about this and thought they had it fixed, but now that he's seen it again, they'll have to reinvestigate.
So iRacing is working on their next implementation of immersion in virtual reality, and they are actually they're working on this thing that you can actually plug into the back of your neck, and you can actually see yourself in the car.
No, because if it's real, if you wreck it real in it and you die in the virtual world, that means you die in the real world.
And it's not
What are
John
you
Wick;
talking about?
it's Neo
Yeah, it
or
would be-
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, who put John Wick? He's more known for Neo, isn't he?
Well, it's iRacing that put John Wick. He's trying to mix the two.
John Wick has entered the Matrix, is what they say. So Keanu Reeves, I can't say his name,
Keanu.
Keanu Reeves,
a famous actor. He made a
Canadian
visit.
actor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Does he still live in Canada? Oh,
You're
burn.
not transmitting, Mike.
Yes, he was.
He got it.
Now, he
Yeah,
made
we
a
lost Mike.
visit.
Sound. Keanu is doing simulations because he's getting ready to drive a real car, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
So he made a visit to CXC Simulations out of California, and I believe this is their showroom. And so he got to partake of their sim there. They got what I call giant triples. These look like 55 inches, maybe.
Those are huge.
Too big.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are too big. My 48s are just a hair big.
Well, it's not that the.
It's not realistic.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's too big.
You're now inside a. I don't know. There's nothing that's that blown up. It's just blown up.
I really do feel like the 48 is the perfect size, but I digress. This cockpit has been around for a long time. It's the one that's got basically looks like shock absorbers on the back part of the seat on either corner that kind of move the seat up and down. And yeah, that's their the way they do the motion.
Is that the tension belts too? Or are those just the
I
mount?
don't think so.
Or is it
They just have
mounting?
springs.
So
They have springs at the bottom. You see 3 little springs.
So it's just so that it moves with your body.
Because the seat is moving, they have it spring loaded so the belts can kind of move with the seat.
Yeah, so this weekend is the 8 hours of Indy, and one of the support races is going to be the Toyota GR86s, and he is racing in it. So super cool, man. Love to see guys come in and do this stuff. This is where Patrick Dempsey ended up doing this. I mean, if you guys remember back to the old Long Beach races.
What are the cars that they drove in those? Toyota.
The Celicas.
Yeah, Dempsey drove a GT3.
Yeah, but I think he did some of the
they used
Long
to,
Beach stuff.
Yeah, they used to have like Paul Tracy and all them. They would all go down and they'd have a celebrity in a pro class.
I think Alfonso Rivero won like 2 or 3 of them. I don't know. I'll be watching this weekend. I'll be curious to see how he does.
He is a very big car fanatic and racing fanatic.
He's got his own band. He's an extremely talented guy, and probably one of the most humble actors I think you'll ever find.
He's really handy with a weapon, with a gun. I've seen some videos of him doing some little target practicing rounds and stuff. The guy is really, really talented.
It's all the practice that he's gotten from killing everybody on the movies.
It must be because, yeah, he's better than most. That's for sure.
Well, something that might kill you in real life is if you got struck by lightning.
It ain't
But,
lightning, it's lighting.
Lighting.
Oh, lighting. Wow. There's my dyslexia kicking in. I literally saw lightning.
So we have a post from Steve Myers bragging about he saw a preview of night lighting in the NASCAR 2025 game. And goes on to to say, well, Jonathan Oates replied to that saying, "Hey, when the iRacing night lighting still looks as bad as it does, why are you saying this?" He responded to that saying, "Quote, I also said that we've hired some of the best graphics engineers in the world to improve the iRacing graphics engine. Greg has written a ton about it."
You'd also have to remember, I think NASCAR is on a different the NASCAR 25 is on a different graphics engine, isn't it? It's on Unreal.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you can't that's like an apples and oranges.
Exactly. You can't really compare them. But to Steve's point, when I kind of like to hear this, he has hired the best graphics engineers in the world.
I can't wait to see what improvements happen over the next, handful of years that I got coming up here.
So just on a side note, I heard that I guess Xfinity cars will be included with NASCAR 25.
Ooh. They did also. He did write in one of them tampering expectations too. It's like they've got the contract for a while. Don't expect everything that you wish list in the first year.
What? No, you got to have it all right now.
I know. It's hard to believe, Brad. We'll get your rain. We'll get your rain.
All right. Next up, we have a spotter membership option question. And it's a fellow basically who says he has a friend who really just wants to get on iRacing and spot. And he's suggesting a $5 a month subscription that allows you to just spot and not race. It's not a bad idea, but I can tell you what it would end up being used for is streamers who want to stream a third person view.
Right. And why not let iRacing monetize that and allow it? It's exactly what I was thinking too, is you could use
Yeah,
a second computer or
out of
stream or something.
out of car view.
But their streamers are already paying for a full subscription to do it. So it would actually be a price cut. Unless
Now,
more people were willing to do it for the cheaper subscription. That's just free market economy there. How much can you charge and still make the most money?
Yeah, but if you're
Other bean counters do it.
Yeah, but if I'm streaming my race and I want to use the spotter option to broadcast it, I think that's what Mike was getting at, right?
right.
There are guys though that already pay for a full account to do this.
Second account is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A full account. They're already double subscribed. So those guys would be able to drop back to this option.
Because I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when we first got on the team, Mike? When I first showed up, I started doing those videos where I'd show guys on how to do each tracks each week, and the setup videos, and then I'd put a third party, or not a third party, but I would add the replay in afterwards on top of my stream of the outside of the car so you could see it. They're right though. It'd be kind of cool if you got for $5, you could have the extra. You could subscribe to any racetracks and everything like that you want.
So the question. It's a good idea, but the real question would be: would they end up bringing in more revenue from the ones they lost from the people who already have double accounts?
Well,
And to the
go
guy's
ahead.
point though, is he wants it for a spotter subscription. How many people would actually sign up just to be a spotter versus the streaming thing? I don't think it's very much. I think it's under 100 people. I mean, how many people are going to do that and not not have an iRacing subscription already?
Or would the subscription only be one time? And then they cancel it right afterwards, so they get the one time total, I guess.
I'm going to say about maybe 2 to 5.
Well, all of my point is, let's say you see iRacing, you're interested, you go check it out, whatever. Are you going to sign up for the spotter thing versus the racing thing? Probably not, would be my guess.
I would guess it's something you maybe negotiate. It seems like something that teams would want, like is something. But most of the team things is people are going to have their own subscriptions anyways to race.
That's my point. Everyone who's already involved already has a racing subscription. I mean, the people that are going to be added to that would potentially buy this, they're not gonna. I mean, you don't enter the sim community as a spotter, in other words.
Well, I don't know why you need to. We already have Aussie Greg Hill. He tells me everything I need to know.
Also, most of the real life spotters that get on iRacing do it to race because they're race fans. So they're not. Could you imagine a real life spotter also wanting to do it online? That's almost like Greg playing truck sim.
God, why does it always go back to my truck sim?
All right. Well, this guy may have or may not have had a spotter, but Webster wins the second round of the IndyCar Pro Series. So tell us a little bit about it, Mike.
Yeah, well, we don't get to watch this because it actually broadcasts literally as we're recording our show, so they're running as we speak. But anyway, this race was won by Cooper Webster, Team Redline.
I caught a snippet on this from one of the social medias, but you know what, you can anticipate what happened the first lap as soon as they got to the fountain.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, there was kind of a pile up situation, car sideways, but some of them got through there. And then after that, it's just a parade. I mean, it's a typical Long Beach. You know, you're just waiting for the guy in front of you to make a mistake, basically.
Yeah, he led 35 laps, and then had Peter Berryman finish second, led 3. Sota Muto finished 6th, led 2 laps. So yeah, it's look, Long Beach is not a fantastic track for passing. It's a fun track, but not going to have a whole lot of action.
So we'll give you the top 5 in points real quick. Cooper Webster is at the top now, with an 7-point lead. Then Diogo Pinto right behind him in second. Peter Berryman third. Gustavo Ariel in fourth, and Florian Labigre. I hope it's pronounced with a French, or it may be Labigre, in position 5. Okay, next we have an iRacing 101 about super sessions. And this is one I probably need to read because I've never really understood exactly how the super sessions work.
I got it. So basically, you race throughout the week, the normal events, and you gather points. Then on the super session day itself, all drivers will be assigned to a split based on how many points they scored during the week rather than your normal I rating. For example, if the top split of the super session takes 20 drivers and one of the top 20 scorers doesn't register, the next available driver who is registered for the session will be allowed to compete in the top split. So you have to, get points, and like if you're in the top 20, you have to show up, and if you're 21st, you show up anyway, hoping one of the top 20 don't show up.
But it's also still going to be influenced by your strength of field because your higher I ratings are going to bring in more points during the week.
Right. Your points are originally derived from how your strength of field, right?
So it does say in here, which iRacing special events use super sessions. Typically, going to be used, including the iRacing SCCA runoffs, the iRacing Crandon Pro 4 Championship, and then the iRacing Chili Bowl. So typical shorter length features is where these are used.
All right, we got a little listener feedback, or kind of a listener post actually, from Jack Jaggerman. He mentioned Brian McCubbin, but Brian has been busy with work, so I think it was one of us that mentioned it, missing the Bristol special event poster. And then he pointed to the link where you can see them all, and then we see a picture of somebody's racing rig with all of the posters up on the wall.
I don't know if it's all of them. Maybe it is, but yeah, he's got 9 of them, I see. but they look good. I mean, this was an idea I had at the beginning of the year. It's like if I did well in one of these, I would print it out and put it in a frame and hang it in my sim room.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Could get lucky enough to win one of these, then it's definitely getting printed, high quality, and going to get framed. These look great.
Yeah, well done, Jack. I think it looks really well.
All right. We're talking events now. We have a Make a Wish event. Tell us a little bit about that one.
So they've had a post on X from this is Make a Wish International. It says registration is open for our iRacing event, Drive for Wishes. Year 2, we're granting even more wishes as we race the Petite Le Mans, broadcast by Race Spot TV. So it gives you an opportunity to sign up for this. I'm looking here. So Drive for Wishes 2024. I guess last year the sim racing community came together to make something amazing happen. Raising almost $30,000 in their first year doing this. So pretty neat. Gives you an opportunity to where you can join and make a donation. This will be November 17th.
This next event, you do not have to worry about balance of power, do you?
We got the Mercedes AMG basically bragging about their second race day of their event. Division 1 was a average iRating of 6,300. Division 2, 2,300. What a competitive field in a Mercedes AMG Motorsport Virtual Championship.
Yeah, if you remember from a few months back, we had talked about this. So I think Ferrari was doing something very similar. It's great to see, car companies and like this coming in to support this. So you could qualify for this, and now you've got the guys that did qualify are actually going to run the races.
And Greg, this one definitely snuck up on us, but I know we're going to be trying to focus on the Conspit series instead.
Yeah, we're doing that Sunday morning, right?
Yep, because it's homecoming week and contest week, so that's the only time I can drive.
I might still just run it just to run until I'm not too tired or whatever. Or let it disqualify me. I don't know. I can run the 8 o'clock one on Saturday night, or my time. But yeah, so the Bathurst 1000 special event is going to go from the 4th to the 6th of October, which is obviously this weekend. They have 5 of the normal slots. Is it normally 5? Anyways,
now on the shorter events they added that extra Sunday event.
Yeah, so that makes it a Saturday night one. Okay, so you got 5 events. You got Saturday 3 GMT, 7 GMT, 12 GMT, 1600 GMT, and then Sunday at 00 GMT. License required is a D 4.0. It's going to be 161 laps. Qualifying is 8 minutes, 2 laps. Warm up 30 minutes beforehand. Stop and goes after 50 incidents, and then every 20. Minimum of 2 drivers, max of 16, and it'll be in obviously the Ford Mustang GT and the Holden ZB Commodore. I really love those 2 cars on this track. The Bathurst is one of my favorite tracks in iRacing to run because you screw up, your race is over.
What else is going on this week, Brad?
Yeah, so we've got a normal This Week in iRacing post here. NASCAR iRacing Series is at Talladega. Got the FIA F4 regionals. Americas are at Autodroma Jose Carlos. That's in Brazil. We got Asia Pacific is at Mobility Resort Motegi. Europe is at the Red Bull Ring, and then the Challenge Series. That's the fixed setup races. They're at the Red Bull Ring as well. We've also got the Fanatec Global MX5 Cup, the Prodigy Racing League. So they will be at VIR this week. And again, if you remember, that's I think it's a pay to get in. So we got Ringmeister, Draftmeister as normal, and Rainmeister. So and then IndyCar Pro Series is at Iowa tonight.
Podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out our Discord and get involved in the discussion. And our website is iRacersLounge.com, where you can see the show notes. We are in regular rotation at Performance Motorsports Network. And get your merchandise, hats, t-shirts, giant mouse pad, which is pretty cool, right at iRacersLounge.shop.
All right, Brad, how about some fantasy talk for Kansas?
Yeah, so the iRacers Lounge Podcast Fantasy League, we rolled into Kansas this past week. With the win was iRace 2 Slow with 243 points, followed by Matt Robb 40. And second, third was Stu 24. Fourth was Silver Mustang 91. And fifth was Race Attic. I don't see any teammates up there in the top 10. So Kansas was typical Kansas, I think. Some of the best mile and a half track racing that we see. Did not get the barn burner that we had at the spring race, but still a pretty decent race.
All overshadowed by the legal talk this week with two teams suing NASCAR. A lot of discussion, at least in our team chat, about what will be the future of racing in America. You know, is this going to break apart the series, or is this going to make things better? I think we got a lot of mixed opinions.
It won't end well. So I understand why they're doing it. I don't think it's going to have the results as they want, but I don't know. It's a lot more complicated than football or baseball, unfortunately, because none of the owners have any stake in the league itself. It's NASCAR is a private entity, and all of the drivers, teams, and everything else, they're all independent contractors. They can choose to compete or not. They're not required to compete. So, yeah, I don't know. Yes, unfortunately, it did overshadow the race. It's a pretty good race, I thought. Saw some of the contenders have trouble.
Hung Money.
What was that?
Hung Money stepped on himself again.
Yeah, Larson ran over something, cut a tire, and then fought a damaged, I guess, underbody or all day, and so that was interesting. Kyle Busch had the lead towards the end and ended up wrecking with trying to get by Chase Briscoe, but at the end of the day, we saw Ross Chastain smash a watermelon and take the win. So surprisingly, the 2311 cars were not very good, and they've won the last 3 fall races here. So that was surprising.
I don't think they'll be any good the rest of the season either.
You got to wonder what Joe Gibbs is thinking. I mean, they're in the championship run here with the 11, all this noise with the legal action and so forth. He can't be happy. I mean, FedEx and Denny sponsors, they can't be happy.
Yeah, I don't know. So, Playoff league standings, we got Team Dewan in the lead, followed by second with Matt Rob 40, third I Race Too Slow, fourth Stu 24, fifth Shane 72. And we're at Talladega this week, so just like we've all experienced last night, there's no telling what's going to happen as we roll into Talladega this weekend.
You're going to have to watch it just because of that, because you really don't know who's going to win this. And as you can, anybody can win these. Look at Harrison Burton.
Yeah, I mean, didn't he take the same strategy that he did for Atlanta? Does he lay back, or do you think he runs up front all day? Yeah, I think you're finding in this car, the best places to be is out front. You just can't seem to make the passes like you could in the previous generation car. So we know there's going to be the big one. The question is, do we get another upset and have a non-chase driver, non-playoff driver win?
They have one variable, and that's all the adjustments that are being made to keep the car on the ground, and they have no practice time. That's the only unknown.
So I was listening to one of the podcasts today, and I guess they've got the extra shark fin or whatever that they had on at Daytona, and they actually said it made the cars drive better. So if you look back, you actually had two lines at Daytona when we were there a few months ago, as opposed to just the single file driving that we've seen before. So yeah, they've added that. They've added a piece of fabric to the roof flap. They've added a little strip on the bottom of the rocker panel. Did
they get that fabric idea from Joey Logano?
Well, but they used to have a piece of flat. The previous car had the fabric on there, if you remember. The Gen 6 had the fabric on there because if one deployed, when it would come back down, you'd have the little piece of black flat fabric that was hanging out. So I'm not sure why they got rid of that. Yeah, they had originally talked about adding a plexiglass shark fin to run all the way from the back, across the roof, and down the front. Actually, the windshield, which is a horrible idea, but they're not going to do that apparently.
Band-aids on top of band-aids.
We got to keep trying to fix this bad car.
Well, what the owners tend to complain about, especially the, I guess 23XI, is that they think they might have to sell a kidney to keep the team running. But that allows us to also open up the hardware section, because Race Beyond Matters asks if the new SimuCube products might require the sale of a kidney to purchase.
It's a teaser video. He has a road case, like a shipping container that was sent to him from SimuCube, and it's just sitting in the back of his den. And it's a product that is obviously a new product coming to SimuCube that he is going to review, but he's not allowed to review it until a certain date or something. So he just kind of teases it. He shows us the outside of the box, So what do you guys think? I mean, SimuCube, they blew up the sim hardware industry last time with their active brakes, a revolutionary product that has never even been dreamed up before that. What in the world do they have this time? Or am I making too much into it? Maybe it's just a formula wheel.
Is it that rain simulator that Brad needs?
I don't know. I watched the video. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what else could they be doing? I can't imagine it being a new wheelbase. You got the active pedal. I don't. What else would it be, Mike?
Or shift? I mean, I don't know. Are they going to expand?
Shifter, maybe. And we're gonna have an active shifter.
Might be cool. Grind your gears.
Maybe they're working with Keanu and have actually found a way to plug it into your neck.
All right, more to come on that later when we know.
All right, here's another video about monitors versus VR, and this is from a real racing driver. So what did he say? I have not had time to watch it.
Let's talk about VR versus monitors in sim
Remember.
racing.
So we got the video here from Suelo Media. So spends quite a bit of time talking about difference between monitor versus VR. So as a professional driver, he's started, he said, with the VR, and has now moved to monitors. The couple of the things that he talks about, one is with VR, it's hot. It's just long, intense racing can be hot. Um, I don't know. I think we've talked before. Most of your pro sim racers, I can't think of any of them that use VR. So
The only time I ever saw VR being used was a lot of if they were pro anything in iRacing, it was for like the old dirt series, the road dirt.
It says here, quote, if I would choose to drive competitively only, I would not choose VR. That was the summary.
Well, I'm not trying to compete as a pro, so I'll stick with my VR because I like it.
Well, what do we always say? What's your preference? Like it doesn't like David's saying, he's not here to try and make it in the big leagues. He's just doing what's comfortable with him, what he likes. Like I've done both. Like I got an opinion on both. I still over the years I don't know what is better for me. I loved VR. It was an awesome immersion to do on iRacing. I've never ever did anything else with VR. The only thing else I ever did with VR was Google Earth. And then that's fun when you can go around and do stuff like that. But other than that, it was racing. But on triples, I just find that I have more. I'm not feeling as restrained. That's the only thing that I've always differed is I was more restrained in VR than I was with the triple or feeling in triples. That's the only difference I feel like. I'm not any faster, not any slower. It just it's just my preference now is to run triples.
one of the things he brings up is the horizon. So in real life, as bouncy as a car may be, your horizon stays consistent. But in VR, he did notice that the horizon would move, and then of course, as you move your head at all, it makes the horizon bounce. So for him, that was a distraction.
I don't really notice that. I
I
guess
can't remember with David. I don't know. Did you run Bristol the other week in any car? Okay. I remember in VR Bristol was a lot easier because you don't lose the top of the roof of the car, or the roof of the car is not in your way like it is in triples. That's one of the things I liked about VR for a track like that.
I particularly like at Coda being able to turn and look at the apex.
I mean, if you drive the triples like Keanu did, it's everything's magnified anyways, right?
Well, when they get the Matrix plugin, I will be the first to sign up. All right, next up, we have an external rear view camera with radar.
This is cool. This is a project that this guy does on this YouTube video. He buys a small monitor display, like a 4 or 5 inch, and he mounts it on his dash, and he's using it like a real rear view camera, like you would find in a car, where like the Cadillac, where it has it on a display. And so he's got a 5 inch display. It's an HDMI monitor, not a USB monitor. That's very important for this project. So you do have to have an
there's no
open
lag.
spot.
He's doing that for no lag.
Well, no, he's doing it. Yeah, he's doing it because it's got to actually be a monitor. Because you're going to end up dragging like OBS and everything else over to it.
Because he's using what, virtual camera?
using OBS to
Yeah, the
basically
virtual camera for it.
grab the camera that's already on screen and basically put it on this monitor.
It's not a bad idea.
It's kind of redundant because you have it in two places, right? You're seeing it up above on the screen, but you're also seeing it down here on this little monitor.
Well, no, you're not. If like the issue he's got is where his FOV is and what he's got, that actual camera is blocked on the screen. So that's why he went down this route to end up with an extra screen to where you can actually see the review camera. The radar thing is fantastic, and that's the one thing I wish iRacing would incorporate. There's no reason that we should not have the radar built into the cameras. There's no reason that in the cars that support like in WEC and stuff, they've got another monitor there that tells them green flag, white flag, yellow flag, or whatever it is. There's certain things I think that they ought to have. There's no reason that we don't have radar, because every IMSA car has got radar. Any professional sports car has got radar built into it.
Well, the JRT does the trick better than I think iRacing would do it anyway.
You probably could over. Yeah.
I've dragged mine over before and tried it. But the thing that, like, in the real life, that radar, it shows up. It's a different color depending on who the class is and whatnot too. So, but and I get it in real life. You don't got a relative up there for the most part. There's certain things they don't have, but it would be nice to see that incorporated into iRacing.
Yeah, with the JRT over almost any of the other radar options, it literally shows you their relative position to the corner as you're, so you get a real sense of quote door bumper clear with the motion. Whereas like the one that's built into sim racing apps, it just pops up an arrow if you're not clear, and the arrow just goes away as soon as you're clear.
Yeah, but like in the real cars, just like he's got in here, there's a distance in there. So as they get closer, it tells you how far the car stuff is from you. So, like I said, I think there's some stuff that I think we need that I just, if a third party app can do it, why can't iRacing do it?
All right, we have a preview from ADAC, an unofficial preview, that is.
Lawrence Dussawa, I always butcher his name, but yeah, he meets up with this other guy and they talk about the upcoming Sim Racing Expo in Germany and kind of reminisce about the previous year and what's different. And basically, it sounds like all the sim racing hardware manufacturers are going to be there that you would expect. In previous years, we had certain companies not show up, but it looks like this year all of them are going to be there. And so, yeah, it looks like a good time.
Who's showing up for Fanatec?
I don't know who's going to be there, but they will be there, which I think is a good sign.
Yeah, it is a good sign because there's a lot of hesitation with that particular company, and they need to put on a good face, and this is where they need to be.
Yeah, I mean the list of vendors that are going to be there it's huge. I mean it's very large.
Yeah.
Yep. So I know that
the first, expo was only 12 booths, and now they're at 70.
Yeah, Lawrence is going to be there. I think Matt Malone is actually going to be there for Ace-A-Tech. So we should get a lot of content out of this one, which I'm looking forward to.
All right, the next title, is this deceptive or is he really anti butt kicker?
Skip one.
Whoops. I did. So oh well. VRS DFP Pro review. So what is this a new wheelbase?
No, it's not new. So this is from Danny Lee. This is the VRS Direct Force Pro wheel base review. It's been around for a while. I think I may have mentioned it, I think last week, but this uses a MIG motor versus a servo. So, I looked at this when I was building my stuff, and the only thing I don't like about this one is it has that whole separate box that you got to mount that has all the information that it drives it. So this is basically just a stock MIG motor, and then everything else is done externally. Where, like with my Sim Magic, it's a servo motor, and then they've got electronics built into it. But this thing is a beast, man. It's been around for quite a while. I think it's a great option. I'm not a huge fan of the there's no ecosystem to it, and that's one of the downfalls. There's only one wheel option that they have currently. They have an adapter where you can mount other stuff. There's no power associated with it in regards to your wheel or anything like that. And then when you look at it's a big motor, so it's not like we're plugging it in with a USB. It's big, bulky cables, and but he says it's probably the best feeling wheel that wheelbase he's ever used.
I don't like the design of it as well. With massive cables coming off of it, two of them, and on his setup, he has them pointing down, coming out of the motor, like right into where your knees would be. I would be afraid my knees would hit the cabling. But then, like you said, a massive control box that has to be plugged in separately as well. So just the footprint of it, I don't like, regardless of how it drives.
Yep.
All right, now I did get a little bit of a chance to take a peek, at least at the description. So it's not so much that he's anti butt kicker as that he's anti overdoing it with your haptics. Is that more correct?
Don't use 4, use 2. That's the message of this video from Lawrence from Sim Coaches. You're going to do these things, definitely don't put 4 of them on. That's what he's talking about. He says you're going to lose the effect. There's too much going on with 4 of them. Just having one on left and one on right is all that's needed.
See, that's completely and counterintuitive to what you read. People suggest to put one on each because then you can control everything to where, my understanding is like through SimHub, you can control, front left, front right, right rear, right left, and whatnot. But I don't know. It's making me rethink what I want to do, because that's the next thing that I want to put on is haptics.
I've been pretty happy with just my single one right on the bottom, just mostly to help feel tire slip.
Yeah, my old rig, I had one that I had on the bottom, but just a regular butt kicker itself, the original butt kicker. But my plan was to put 4, to do 4 of them, but I guess I'm second guessing that now.
A lot of cables, it's a lot of amps. You got to have a place to put the amps. I mean, yeah, butt kickers are kind of a big deal. I'm happy with the single one I have right under my butt that's mounted directly to the seat. I really don't feel a need to expand that.
Well, forget your little small Stream Jack. What is this Stream Deck Studio thing we got going on here?
Well, look, I want a Stream Deck. I've been kind of contemplating. That's my next purchase actually for my rig. But this came out this week, this Stream Deck Studio. Imagine a Stream Deck 3 or 4 times as big. It's basically the size of a keyboard is what it looks like a full size 128 key keyboard. Got knobs on each side, 3 on each, and then lots of programmable push buttons in between.
Well, these are actually rack units, all right? You're familiar with rack
Is that what
units.
that is? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so if you look on the back, there's quite a bit of routing and wiring and option in the back. This is essentially like tailored for streaming mixers. This is for like live streaming music and stuff like that, not just a game. Like a lot of popular bands nowadays are streaming basically live music as one of their main even money makers. They actually make a lot of money on Twitch or YouTube doing it. And so they're probably using gear like this to pipe everything into YouTube.
there a place on a sim rig for one of these rack units?
How many times are you going to have to change your audio settings while you're in the middle of a race? Are you going to need to balance? All right. Are you going to need to increase the reverb on your voice? Are you going to need to turn down your brake pedal volume? Do you need to increase the gate on the snare drum? You know, and it's a little. It's probably too much for working a video game stream. It's probably more for live performance type stuff.
Agreed. Pretty cool though.
All right. So we have a wheelbase adapter for Asetek.
Third party, yes. We got an Instagram post from Asetek. Unlock your ecosystem with a new third-party wheelbase adapter. Now you can pair your Asetek SimSport wheels with almost any wheelbase, keeping your existing setup while enjoying Asetek's customizability. What a word. So this is what I call a backwards QR, David. The idea is not to use it on an Asetek base, but you could use it on a Fanatec or a base or a SimiCube base or a SimMagic base. You could take your Asetek wheel and use it on a SimiCube.
And that's smart to increase your chances of selling a wheel. So it's smart business. Even though this is third party, so I guess they're just that's not, it doesn't really benefit Asetek except that they might sell a wheel. I guess they might not want to provide this, or do they provide something like this? Because that means you're not going to buy their base.
Well, I don't know. I can't think of an Asetek wheel that I would buy to use on a different base. I haven't been very impressed with their wheels. I like the wheelbases, but I don't know if I like their wheels.
All right, we have a couple of videos about the Moza CRP2 pedals. And the question on the topic is, are they good enough?
Yeah, I think the both videos show that they're decent pedals. They have some adjustability. You can get the 2 or 3 pedal version. You you can't get it without the base plate, which is what one YouTuber was hoping for. Let's give some options, like maybe you already have a base plate, whatever. But I think for me, the big thing that remains to be seen is we know Moza has this active brake coming, but what pedal set are they going to integrate it with? And I feel like this is the one. So when you do get a Moza active brake, are you going to be buying these CRP2 Moza pedals to go with it, or does the Moza brake mount to any old brakes out there from any manufacturer? I mean, I don't think we know.
I don't. Looking at the pictures that we've seen of the active brake thing, I can't imagine that being added to this set.
So what do you think the product will be when it comes out?
My guess would be
Different set of pedals?
yeah, that would be my guess. I'm just thinking for the size of it and looking at this, I just can't see you being able to take the load cell off and replace it with that. I mean, it's a what they're doing. It's a different design from SimuCube, but it's a big piece of hardware.
You're right. It doesn't look like there's enough room in there to actually fit it. When you look at the guy take out the little take it apart to redo the elastomers inside, it's not long enough, that piece. So you're probably right.
Well, we've covered quite a few of Morad's videos, and this next one is a tour of his studio, right?
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I've watched a bunch of his videos and have kind of seen what he's got, but this was nice. He kind of walks you through his entire sim racing studio from his. He walks you through his desk where he does all of his editing and that stuff, walks you through his rig. Then you see, he's got all his trophies behind him. He's got his wall of helmets and stuff. Just very cool. I like Daniel. I had the chance to meet him at VIR. Very personable guy, but spends a lot of time and is, again, he's interacted with the community, and I think that's great. He's got some great gear, SemiCube, wheelbase, pedals. I like to see what other people use, me personally, because then I get ideas for stuff. So, it was about a 20-minute video or so, but no, I liked it. It's pretty neat. Everybody's kind of got their little, I've got a corner in the basement that I'm slowly turning into my sim room. So I sent you guys pictures and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty neat.
I like it because it gives me great ideas. It's basically an extra bedroom in his house. You can tell. I mean, there's a closet. It's a small bedroom. But what has he done to it to make it a sim den? Black on the walls. The walls are literally black. Looks like panels maybe, but there's everything is black, and then he's got these white light strips along the bottom and in the corners to light up the room, and it gives it a really neat contrast. I mean, um, it really takes it to another level with the black of walls. I like it.
All right. So we're not sure if we can hit him or not, but Conspit Aries wheelbase is posted on Instagram. It's kind of a weird shape.
Yeah, we just got a quick hit here. Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
Just a quick hit here from Instagram. So this is wheelbase they've got coming out. Again, it's two different types. The whole issue with Conspit is there's no U.S. Distributor, but supposedly going to have a high performance motor control, enhanced responsiveness, dual schooled pole design, ultra high torque density, all kinds of stuff. I'm not a huge fan of the way it looks. I don't like anything that I would have to mount flat on my rig. I want a front mount on my wheelbase because I want to be able to put my monitors behind it. That's just me. So, yeah, again, it's pretty neat, but until you get a U.S. distributor, I'm really not paying attention.
And they give you some pictures of the inside of it and different things, and their torque graphs. Looks like it goes up to 15 Newton meters. Well, I got to take this one, David. This video got after my heart a little bit. It's the SemiCube 2 Pro. It's called Old But Gold. And that really is how you describe this wheelbase. It is several years old at this point, but still I think is the standard on wheelbases, or a lot of comparisons are made to it. Look, I bought it. I can't tell you, not once has this thing gone wrong by me. Not once. It has just been a workhorse. I had so many problems with my Fanatec base, and when I moved to this one, not a single problem. Love the software where I can download other people's profiles. Like I run the Dan Suzuki profile on my F4 car. You know, I, he's much better at setting up a force feedback on a base than I would be ever. So um, it's kind of nice to rely on other people's profiles and that kind of thing.
All right, we have a button box review on the Precision Sim Engineering Pro Stitch. We've talked about this one quite a few times. It's basically sort of looks like the Stream Deck, except you put stickers on instead of having tiny little monitors on each button, right? He asks if it's the best button box money can buy. I don't know if, particularly if you're in VR, if you want 20 identical buttons all right next to each other, because it's just a little hard to distinguish where you are on the keys. Maybe it doesn't matter as much if you're not in VR.
Yeah, I drool over this every week. I mean, I should just buy it. I mean, I see Dave Cam with his, he has it all bright and colors and sticking up, on his left periphery. You see Daniel Morad. We just looked at his room. He's got one on his right side. He's got all kind. He's got, I think, two Stream Decks and a PSP. Um, but this is a premium product. It comes with this thing called a RAM mount, which is kind of a universal mount, but it's pretty easy just to bolt to your profile, and it sticks out about 6 inches, and you hook the thing to it.
Yeah, I think they're neat. I don't know. I'm happy with my ignition box. If I was going to get into doing some of the streaming stuff, maybe I need to have something else. But yeah, I'm good. I like knobs. I like to turn things. I like switches. That's kind of stuff I like, as opposed to just pushing a button.
Yeah, the VSD design that I have, it gives you a lot more versatility, and you got the big button for like eject for exiting the car. It actually is my ejection button if I'm in a plane as well. Um, and it's also easier when you can't see it to find which button you're looking for by feel. Whereas I know I would be hitting the wrong button if I just had a column of 4x5 buttons.
Another thing about your ignition controls button from Poland button box, it's metal. It's not plastic. It's robust. It's got really good switches on it and knobs and whatever, and so it's not your everyday button box.
No, it wasn't cheap, but I am super happy with it.
We have another quick hit from Conspit, and this is a Formula wheel called it's a 290 GP Next Gen, and it's what it is. It's a Formula wheel. I am taking a look now to see how many paddles are on the back.
Not a bad looking wheel, but like you said, until we can see a review or find a place to purchase it, yeah, we're probably not going to take a quick look. But a quick look.
It's got a lot of buttons. I can't tell on the pedals.
Yeah, it just says mag flip rocker style magnetic paddle shifter group. So I'm assuming you're gonna have shift paddles and I guess clutch. So at least 4 paddles.
All right, got one more hitting something on the Moza ecosystem, Mike.
Yeah, we've seen this before, but this is the Moza wheel. I believe it's $750, and it has a round display in the center that is gyroscope style, where it doesn't twist when you twist the wheel. Now, the Sim Racing Den reviews this product, and he said it's not bad for a first generation product, but the screen is a bit laggy as he turns the wheel. It recenters itself, and that lag is just a little bit too annoying. He's hoping maybe they can fix it with firmware and software in the future, but not expecting much. But for 750 to get a wheel with a display is still a good price.
And we did notice that when we saw this the last time.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan. It's too odd. It's just way too odd. I don't mind a DDU, but I don't need something that's going to stay centered in the middle and be round and just show me very little information, because it doesn't show much information outside of a gear. That's all it shows.
And he mentions that, like when you're driving, you're not looking at that, is what he mentioned. He also mentioned this is a 310 millimeter, which is, he said, too big for him. He would wish it would be a 290 or so.
310 on a Formula wheel is big. I mean, that's what, 12 inches. Is that about right?
David's Fanatec, I believe, is 270. Mine Cube Controls is 300, and I don't think you want one bigger than 300.
Yeah, I think my Sim Magic GT4 is 300. Yeah, I wouldn't want anything bigger than that.
Do you really need the display to follow your level? I know it's a novelty thing, but do you really need it to follow the plane of level? Like, is it really offering you much information because it's flat?
No, but if I remember correctly, Fanatec was coming out with something like this and then never released it. So I got a feeling that's kind of where this got spurred from.
There's probably a reason. Well, obviously, with Fanatec, there's definitely a reason why it didn't get released, but it's probably the software is just too hard to write or just get right.
It just takes too long for the data to get to the wheel.
Well, the processing power to run the display, I think, is part of it too. You know,
Well, but I mean, if you think about just a regular wheel, a Formula wheel with a DDU, I mean, you get trained to where you're looking at it, but you're not looking at it. And if you're going to look at something other than what gear you're in, you're going to do that on the straightaway anyway. So I have no issue if I'm in the middle of a corner and I'm shifting gears. You know, I don't look at my I don't look at my screen when I'm in gear. I know how many gears I'm downshifting. If I'm going from sixth to first, it just becomes, you know, pop, 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 pop. You don't think about it. It becomes second nature. So I don't need to look at a screen to tell me what gear I'm in.
This is why I like having that secondary dash that I've created with the thing that from JRT and added it onto a tablet. It's so much easier. I have it there where I want it, and it's not on the wheel. It's not obstructed by anything on the wheel.
an Android phone mounted above the wheel with the JRT dash. Let's talk results and jump to NASCAR iRacing Series Friday Open at Kansas. I was wrecked out. Justin Pearson also wrecked out. Tony Rochette at P6. John P9. That's all we got. And then we'll go to Wednesday fixed. Wow, Wednesday fixed. We haven't run that in a long time. Talladega, Justin Pearson, P1. Strategy played to my favor again. We had a caution with 25 to go. I just put enough gas in her to finish the scheduled distance, which gained me 5 spots to put me on the front row. I recommend an ignition switch. It helped me save a ton of fuel for the green-white checkers. Luckily, I held P1. I never have been so close with fuel. I started sputtering at the tri-oval, taking the checker. I got to say, one thing better than the win was I had a listener in the race that introduced himself to me. He said he was a weekly listener. Shout out to Tom Goker. We went 1-2. Wednesday Open, Talladega. I got DQ'd out with 1 to go. Ouch. I led some laps during the race, but was involved in many different incidents that were not my doing and basically ran out of incident points. But I had a lot of fun. My TikTok stream blew up last night. I had somewhere between 300 and 500 watchers. Now that's just not people scrolling by. That's people staying in the chat, watching the race, 3 to 500 at any given time throughout the night. I had over 24,000 views, 6 different gifts, got 185 new followers, and some 16,000 likes. But man, that was fun. Every time I look over to the chat, they're talking amongst themselves. They're asking me questions about my setup. I don't know. Every 10 minutes, somebody asks me about my seat belts. Why are you wearing seat belts? Anyway, I've had a lot of fun with it. Brad, you got a P31.
Yep, P31 after starting P10. I don't have a whole lot to say. One of the worst drafting races I can remember being in. Most of the guys raced like monkeys using a hammer for the first time.
Title idea: monkeys using a hammer.
It was horrible. Just, I mean, we were all in the same race, Mike. It was trash. It's just absolute trash.
I couldn't not get wrecked. I mean, every time I got wrecked, I had nothing to do with it, but I was involved. Luckily, I didn't have too much damage until the end, the last few, but it was fun to have 5 of us in the same split. That was pretty cool. Tony Rochette, P19, got stuck being pushed from a damaged car. My split only had 2 cautions, and they were in the first half of the race. Bobby Jonas, P3. Greg, P13.
Yeah, mine. I was running up front, racing for the win with at least top 5 maybe, with a couple laps to go, and there was an accident, big accident. Have no idea how the caution didn't come out. Field got separated. I had a little bit of fender damage, and it was just whatever cars were catching up and getting together and formed up, were making passes to try and get it. I think it was it split up where the front guys, there was probably about 9 of them that got broke away, and then the rest of the field was like in different packs, and it just never got formed back up, and couldn't do anything. It was kind of boring finish.
Chris Waldron, T9. Race was sloppy. I was in 4 wrecks and had 16X. On the white flag lap of green-white checker, call me Moses, there were several wrecks and the seas parted. I went from 25th to 9th on the last lap, P9. Now, Chris has a history of doing this recently where he just kind of runs in the back, and then at the end of these, when the caution fests start happening, he just somehow gets up through there. All right, I ran today, Thursday Open, Talladega, P20. I started in the back this time after the shit fest from last night. We had a green flag run and a green flag stop. Then a caution shortly after. Somehow, some way, I cycled up to 5th after that. So I was in the second pack before the stops. I was running like 25th, and we had lost the front group, and it was looking really bad. And then the green flag stopped, and then the caution came. And so when we came around to pit road, all the people that had pitted under green pitted again under the caution. I have no idea why. And I stayed out and got a bunch of track position and was up to 5th. But after that, it eventually got wrecked out really bad, 4 minutes damage. Just limped it home, P20. All right, moving on to FIA F4 Regional America. First race of the week at Interlagos, Brazil. I qualified 7th, ended up spinning on my own 3 different times, and finished P9 out of 18. Second start, I started 6th, got up to 4th, and then on the last lap was able to get 3rd. Was able to keep the car under me and not overdrive it. Thanks, Justin, for getting my head on straight. P3 with 96 points. Yeah, I mean, I met with Justin in Discord between these races, and I was frustrated. He's like, dude, you got to just mellow out and not overdrive it. And I took his words to heart and got me a nice P3. Probably run my 3rd and 4th start later tonight and see if I can do any better. All right, David. IMSA, P7.
Yeah, I just put all the results here in one little line. I had one more P7, I believe, I've had one P7 at Spa, actually. And this one, that's despite the fact that I got intentionally wrecked twice. This guy comes in and dive bombs from over 4 car lengths back, fails to make the turn. I see it coming, so I check up behind him and enter the corner. And because he fails to make the turn, he doesn't get on the gas, and we make contact. And around he goes. So he comes back and hits me intentionally later. And it made the car really hard to drive. I went ahead and tried to tough it out. Then that made him get a drive through, but because he somehow, I don't know if he fixed his damage or waited until I came out, he came and hit me again and got himself disqualified. And yes, the protest has already gone through. Then I ran
Successful?
Yeah, that one went successful.
Good.
The one with the GT3 didn't. where the GT3 just turned left into.
Yeah, I could understand that one. Don't like it, but I could understand it.
It's no, he turned and hit me because he was not happy that I passed him on the straightaway.
But from the stewards, I can see them doing that. I mean, I hate to say that, but
And then I had a series of like 6 and 7s at Mosport as well, including some of them were rainy, some of them were dry. I kind of liked that variety that Mosport had.
And we're in P6.
yeah, P6 GTD at Spa started P4. Had decent pace and was running fourth. Got in fifth, was a little bit quicker, but was able to keep him behind me. So went through pit stops, came out ahead of him. Actually got a really nice jump coming out of there. I don't know what he did in the pit stops. I gained came out like 2.5 seconds ahead of him, and so I was pushing very hard because I had gained a little bit of time on P3. And only to end up self-spinning coming out of Blanchimont. Car had not been free at all coming through here. That's the sweeping left-hander as you right before you get to the bus stop, and just whoop went right around. Just completely caught me off guard. So learned my lesson there. I'll probably run another one. Even with the P6 had decent points finish, but I'll probably get a couple more in this week. So I like Spa. Think of the Mustang, I'm a little underpowered, unfortunately. BOP just not benefiting that. Was really struggling on the straightaways, but we'll see. I'm happy.
The other racing I ran hosted, unofficial pickup cup at Phoenix. And I get it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And then I ran it again, finished P2. I just got to say, it's nice to win a race once in a while when you haven't won one, and that's a good place for me to pick up one. Um, just get my mojo back, so to speak. Then I ran some hosted events, 87 at Talladega, but wrecked out. And that's it. So final thoughts, David Hall.
Yeah, looking forward to actually having a little bit of time to race Sunday. Hopefully, we can get another good result at Spa. And I know for a fact that Greg actually owns this track. However, it's different. There's a couple of changes. The runoffs are gravelly now instead of paved. If you miss something at going up Eau Rouge, so or even the source, you don't want to go too far out there.
Fine.
Eau Rouge has changed.
I'll mic practice.
Rouge has changed, but it's actually easier. I think.
It is. It is. You got a little bit more freedom to the left as you come up over the hill, but it's still easy to get a slow down.
All right. And then Greg Hector's final thought.
Just looking forward to racing. It's been a tough day, tough week. But yeah, just interested to see how this. If I can get some time in the Bathurst. If not, then I missed it this year. But I'm also looking forward to racing with David on Sunday morning. So.
Okay, very good. Brad Wren, final thought.
So I spent the last couple weeks. Found I've got a track racer TR160, and when you buy that, you get the red dust covers that go in the tracks. But they're stupid expensive, and I wanted more of them. So I ended up with a couple of orders from AliExpress. Found the same things, and I have spent the last week or so just continuing to add to it. So I have lots of red strips all over my rig now. It looks really good, and that's the thing I love about it. As much as I love racing, I love tinkering and I love tweaking and just playing with my toys because that's what it is. It's a toy, and it looks better. And there's no dust in the channels, which I like. So yeah, I've got a couple strips left over. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll probably order some more. It's not bad. It takes about a month to get stuff from China, but gosh, it's cheap.
All right, very good. My final thought, I just, man, Talladega, I usually win the Talladega or a Daytona, but I haven't won this year any NIS race. and I usually have 2 or 3 or 4 wins by now. So I feel like I'm on a dry run. So I got wrecked out today. I got wrecked out last night. So I'm really looking forward to Friday night, and I'm going to probably get up early and run Sunday morning, which I usually don't. Just because this is my chance. This is my chance to get that win under my belt for the year. Um, I didn't feel very comfortable today in the race. I never really got up front. But last night I was. And, if racing luck goes my way, I think I can close the deal. And so with that, hey, we'll see you on the track later. All right, we got a bunch of title ideas.
Where did number 2 come from?
The talk about
Yeah.
VR.
The hat in Coke.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Oh, we can't use the
5 or 6.
can't use 5 because we did find out that that's legit.
But that is the new 10. Anyways.
That's true
Like
too.
1 or 6.
I like 3 because it's the actual song title. Fly me to the moon, da 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 da, ba da boo da.
Hey, vote.
I'm okay with 3. I like the way
3.
David did that.
Okay, 3 it is. Well done.
My charming voice did the trick.
I feel like the podcast needs to go out on that then.
Maybe
Copyright.
you should add that.
Copyright.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can. With
Can't you do
copyright,
10 seconds or something?
I could sing it myself.
There you go. Get a little. Is that Sinatra?
Yeah, but I'd have to look up the lyrics. Just sing over Mike at the end.
Yeah. Good show, guys.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to race first.
All right.